Hi, in this video we'll be going over the continuation of the C# video tutorials, so csharp.net. So we'll be continuing to discuss classes and objects, so we'll be talking about passing an object to a method. So you've done this before probably in the playlist somewhere, in the C# playlist on my channel, so we'll just delete some of this stuff here. Okay, so passing an object to a method. So when you're developing apps that work with objects, you often need to write methods that accept objects as arguments. So for example, the following code shows a method named, so I think we did this example already in the other notes, but pretty much this is just a show coin method that accepts a coin object as an argument. So for example, we could just have private void show coin, or just show status. So we could say that it takes a coin object. So we can assume that if you've been following the playlist, if you haven't, please do to see what I'm talking about. Because I honestly, or pretty much I usually just go back and discuss previous concepts. We can assume that we have a coin class, so like public class coin. We can have a constructor for a coin, some fields, and some methods. So pretty much, let's just say that we have a coin object already, or a coin class set up. Or we can just assume that we would have a coin class set up as well. That works, or that we will set up a coin class in the future. That works as fine as well. So we could say that it takes a coin object as a parameter, and then here we could say that we want to have a message box.show, and we could just say, for example, that the coin is, for example, concatenated to, we could have another accessor method or something, plus we could say coin, we can access our coin object. We could say dot, and we could pretend that we have a method called getSide, and then we can just close it like that. So pretty much that's how you'd have the method call, or that's how you define the method. Excuse me, sorry. Just have some water here. Okay, so we can basically just instantiate an object. So we could go with coin, for example, coin points a new coin. Let's instantiate an object. So then here we could go, for example, we could say show status. Let's pretend we have like a main method or something, or constructor of the form that we want to call a method. So we could just say we want to call show status and then pass it an argument that we want to pass it the coin as an argument, pretty much. So that's how to pass objects to a method and to call a method with an object argument. Excuse me. So pretty much, because classes are reference types, or object reference types, I guess it might just be reference types. Well, I guess, yeah, that would make sense, because classes are object reference types. Because reference type usually should mean object reference type. Just depends on the author of the docs. I believe the general docs, they do say object reference as well. So objects that are instances of a class are always passed by reference. So you don't need to call the ref keyword in that case all the time. If something's not working, you can use the ref keyword. That's where it gets confusing, because automatically C# passes, or at least csharp.net, it passes objects by reference automatically. That's not always the case. It's not always automatically. That's where you have to use the ref keyword. pretty much objects that are instances of a class are always passed by reference. We can just note that down here. So objects that are instances of a class are always passed by reference. So you wouldn't need the ref keyword all the time. In most cases you won't, just by pass. So see how we didn't use the ref keyword here? We didn't say ref coin and then ref coin like that. We didn't say that. It might do the same thing if you try it. Sometimes you may just need to use the ref keyword. So it all just depends. Excuse me. So when you pass an object, that is an instance of a class as an argument, the thing that is passed into the parameter variable is a reference to the object. So as a result, the method that receives the object as an argument has access to the actual object, not a copy of the object. So as a result, the method that receives the object as an argument has access to the actual object, not a copy of the object. For example, look at the following flip method. Okay, so we'll show a flip method here, but what does pass by reference mean? Well, passing by reference means that you're passing the object itself rather than its value. So there's two types. There's pass by value and then pass by reference. Well, variables, most languages just pass everything by value. In this case, well, not actually, well, at least most of the time. Sometimes they pass things by reference, perhaps maybe like objects. But in C#, pretty much you have to pass, if you want to pass something by reference, sometimes you have to like explicitly pass it by reference. That's just the way it is. Because C is a little bit different than Java. Like the language, like I'm talking about normal C programming, not like C#. Okay, so anyways, we can just have, for example, a method here. So we'll just go with, for example, private void flip. So we could say that it also takes a coin object, coin, and then here we could say that we want to open a block. And here we can say that we're going to call our coin object passed by parameter. So we're accessing the parameter here. And then here we want to say coin.toss like that. So we want to toss the coin. So in this method we're actually calling another method. So this method accepts the coin object as an argument and it calls the object's toss method. So pretend we have another method that we defined, named toss. So we could demonstrate a little bit more here. So we can instantiate another coin here, we could pretend this is main here again, so maybe up here. We'll just move it down here. So we could pretend that we have a main here, so coin points a new coin. So let's just write this again. So let's say that we have, for example, coin points to new coin. So this we instantiated a new object of type coin. We instantiated or created, whatever you want to call it, same thing. And we have, for example, we could call message box dot show. We could say that we want to show coin dot. We could say that we want to call show status. Do you want to call that method? Okay, actually, we have another method here. That works fine. Then we can say that we want to call flip. So we'll call flip, and here we just pass in the coin object. So you notice how in messagebox.show we're calling a method. But in this case, the flip method takes a parameter rather than calling an object. So it's a little confusing. Like if you can see here, when we called flip, we called coin.toss. So we called one of its methods. But for example, that method may have not had a parameter. So in this case, you just call it like that. But in this case, flip may not need a object to call it on. Because usually when you want to access an object's, like an object's methods, you have to call coin dot. But for example, if it's from another class, so if this can get tricky. So if flip was in another source file itself, and it took a coin object, but it's not actually the coin's instance method, so it's not actually the instance data from the object itself, but it just takes an object as a coin object as parameter, then you can pass it a coin object rather than call the coin's toss method, which would belong to the coin class. So toss is defined in the coin class, and it's part of the object's methods. But flip is defined in another source file or another class, and it's not a part of the coin class, but it takes a coin object as a parameter, so it's a little bit tricky. So you just have to practice just doing OOP language stuff and you'll get it. So here we'll go with, so for another line here, we could say that we have messagebox.show. So you want to show, for example, a coin.getSide up. So let's just pretend we have another method called getSide, or just getSide like that. So getSide could be a part of the coin's, one of the coin's methods in that class itself. So a statement here creates a coin object referenced by the variable my, or just coin. Then after we display the value of the coin object's side up field, side up could be a field or could be a method. They may be these docs may be saying that a field could also be a method. I would just call it a method just not to confuse anyone. Fields I usually think of as like global variables, but that's maybe because I did Java before C#. So because the object's constructor constructor sets the side up field to heads, we can pretend that. So then when you instantiate the coin, then the coin would say heads to start. Then we call the flip method passing passing the coin as an argument by reference. But remember, by reference that was automatically, so we didn't need to call the ref keyword. So then in the flip method definition, the coin object's toss method is called. So then it displays the value of the coin object's side up field again, which actually might be an actual field, but I don't have that class, I deleted it. I apologize about that, so you can just pretend that we have a field named side up. So we won't be able to know if you toss it again if it'll be heads or tails, because it's just a 50-50 probability. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So just to wrap, well, we could be moving on to properties here. So we probably will be moving on to properties. Okay, so there's a lot to discuss with properties. So I actually might start that one in the next video. So that's just pretty much passing things by, that's just how to pass an object. Actually, you don't really need to start a new one here. Let's just continue here. What do we have here? Okay, so actually maybe I should start a new one just to keep it simple. So if you're waiting for the next video, it'll just be in the playlist after this one. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll just wrap up object, parameter, and arguments. So thanks for watching. If you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. In the next video, I'll be going over properties in csharp.net. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks.